Do you know your hash rate from your halving? Do you know your ASIC from your GPU? Or maybe everything I've said is just total gibberish? Well, if that's correct, you're in the right place, because in this video, we're going to take you through the top 10 important words you need to know in the crypto space to help you go from a crypto zero to a crypto hero. So my name's Josh Rodette, I'm the CEO of Easy Crypto Hunter, and I'm here to help guide you through the crazy world of crypto. So having been around the space now for 5 years in the mining space, alongside the crypto world for nearly 10 years myself, what I've realized over the time is that if you don't understand the rules of the game, you simply don't know how to play. So stick around to the end of the video, because I'm going to give you not only some of the more basic definitions, but some of the more important definitions that if you don't understand what these words mean, you possibly might be missing out on one of the biggest financial movements in the entire crypto space. So our first definition is blockchain technology. Ultimately, this is the underlying base technology that everything in the ecosystem is based up on top of. Possibly one of the best ways to think about this is a little bit like the internet. The internet itself is a baseline technology, and on top of the internet sit Amazon, eBay, Microsoft, Facebook, all these companies that we know and love that do loads of different types of business tasks, but without the internet as a core infrastructure technology, they wouldn't be able to do what they do today. So similarly, in the cryptocurrency space, blockchain is the underlying secret sauce. And then on top of that sits Bitcoin and Ethereum and all the other coins that you're familiar with that ultimately use that technology in different ways for different outcomes for different reasons. So let's imagine person A wanted to pay person B. No problem, you could just pay them. But person C over here would have no way in the current system that we have of banks and payments and all the normal stuff that we're aware of. Person C would never have the ability to be able to check that person A actually did pay person B. And if person B says, hey, person A, you never paid me, well, that's kind of going to be a bit of a debate between two people and not necessarily something an independent person could look at. Whereas if things were done on the blockchain, person A would send the funds to person B on the blockchain. The blockchain would kind of stamp that transaction as a proof of truth that happened. That blockchain is then viewable from any place and any party. So in this instance, person C can now verify that did indeed happen. This again is a really good example of this digital truth that is obviously, as you can appreciate, so it's critical for inter-business transactions and interpersonal relationships. So what the hell is cryptocurrency? Now, this is one of my favorite things to try and explain, because actually this is a word that everyone has heard of. Everyone's heard of cryptocurrency, but actually very few people really understand what that is, or maybe why it's probably not even the best word. So if we take a little step back in history to 2009, 2010, and Bitcoin is just emerging on the scene, of course, it was designed at the time to be a digital cryptocurrency. It was designed to be an alternative to the dollar. It was an online payment system. So it was quite rightly at the time a cryptographic currency, cryptocurrency. And as of today, there's 10, 12, 13 more plus 1,000 different coins. And the first reaction often people get is, why the heck do we need thousands of different currencies? That's just silly and confusing. And you'd kind of be right. Actually, of the 10,000 plus coins that exist, not that many of them are specifically trying to be an explicit currency. Lots of them are involved in supply chain logistics and interpersonal trades and houses and asset transfers. Generally, what would have been a better nomenclature, a better name for all this stuff, would effectively be to think of them as crypto tokens or crypto assets or digital shares. That's probably a better way to think about them. So now you understand the blockchain technology and you understand the verbiage of the word cryptocurrency. Well, then let's get into some of the more exciting things and define cryptocurrency mining. Well, let's go back to the example that we've given about person A paying person B. If they were to do that in Bitcoin, every 10 minutes as it stands today, all the information of all those transactions are chunked together in a 10-minute window of information. The blockchain needs to stamp that transaction to be true, and the way in which that's done is through computers, Bitcoin mining machines, that verify that transaction. And as a thank you for a person giving their computer power to do all the geeky maths that were needed to stamp that communication, you're able to get rewarded with a little bit of a coin of a thank you. And that's why Bitcoin mining and cryptocurrency mining has historically been so profitable. That leads us into our next definition, mining rig. So this is a bit of a funny thing, because the kind of metaphor that was used way back when, again, many years ago when Bitcoin was first being around in 2009, 2010, people were trying to explain what was happening here, and the visual imagery that was portrayed was kind of a little man down a mine shaft with a pickaxe trying to find a bit of gold. The computers that now perform and verify these transactions are now known as cryptocurrency mining rigs. So they're effectively posh computers, computer servers if you would, that verify transactions, help keep the network operational, and the people that own those systems are able to get rewarded as a thank you for doing so, which is why, as we've discussed, it's grown into such a big financial space. Okay, so I hope you guys are still with us. Your head's not exploded. Hopefully those terms have been explained in a pretty reasonably easy to understand way. If you can give us a like and a share, that would be fantastic. Subscribe to our channel, because the more interaction that we get, obviously the more people are able to see this. And as you can appreciate, we're really passionate about getting everyone involved in the crypto space, because there's just so many fantastic opportunities as the space continues to grow. Now we've understood that we've got crypto mining and crypto mining rigs. One of the other important things to understand in this ecosystem are effectively what are called consensus mechanisms. Now, again, for those of you that are more technical and a bit more familiar with this, don't rip my head off. I'm going to give a very non-technical overview of the kind of really nerdy, geeky stuff here. There are effectively two ways to process transactions. On one side of the fence, we have what's called proof of work, and on the other side of the fence, we have what's called proof of stake. In a nutshell here, we're talking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency mining as a general. So any coins out there that use any form of mining are a proof of work coin. So in order for person A to send the transaction to person B, load of machines are running to check that this address is real, the coins have moved between the two, stamped on the blockchain, person C can verify. So that is exactly how today the Bitcoin network works, and lots of other coins in the ecosystem work on that model too. Proof of stake, in a nutshell, doesn't use lots of computers. It effectively says, I've got lots of coins, therefore I'm an authority in the space, therefore I can rubber stamp those transactions. It's not necessarily that one is better than another. Like all things in life, it depends on the circumstances and what they're being used for. Next on the list is the word hashrate. So again, this is a word that's used in terms of cryptocurrency mining on the proof of work side of the fence, where hashrate is effectively the speed in which that physical device or computer can process transactions. Think of this in equivalent terms as brake horsepower for your car engine. The bigger the number, the more it can process, the faster it can process. Typically, the more that device is able to earn for the person that owns it. So the only caveat to add on to the back of that is that each different coin, they're programmed in a different language, a different algorithm, and just the way the numbers are, sometimes a bigger hash rate on one algorithm doesn't necessarily mean it's better on another algorithm. Mining pools is our next definition. So if we have a average person, off the street that wants to get into Bitcoin mining, and they go and buy a Bitcoin mining machine, the problem is that in order for it to get the reward, you actually have to be the physical individual machine that solved that equation, which is really, really difficult when there are millions and millions and millions of mining devices all across the world. So to combat this, they join a team, and that team is often called a mining pool. So rather than you being an individual miner, you can group up with hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of miners, and if anyone is able to solve that equation and process and stamp that transaction, then everyone in that pool gets a split of the reward proportionate to their input power. ASICs versus GPUs. Let's start with an ASIC machine. So ASIC is an abbreviation for Application Specific Integrated Circuit. In a nutshell, a posh computer chip that someone has specifically designed to do a single specific task. However, it cannot do anything else other than mine Bitcoin or other coins that are in that language. It's a bit of a one-trick pony. It's great at one thing, terrible at doing, well, not even terrible, it physically can't do lots of other things. So it's a very specialist tool. Flipping over to the other side, GPU, a graphical processing unit, or as most of you watching are probably more familiar with the term, a computer graphics card. A graphics card is a little bit like the Swiss Army knife of the cryptocurrency world. In our business, that's why we only deal with them. We have a lot of faith and believe to do lots of other things ASIC machines don't do, but effectively it can do many, many different things. It can mine virtually any of these algorithms that exist. And now it's on to one of the most important definitions that we've alluded to at the beginning of the video. So here it is, the word and the definition of the halving. This digital currency that we now have as Bitcoin was created with some fundamental differences between how existing currencies work. One of the fundamentals was that there was only ever going to be 21 million coins. There was a set number of Bitcoin that was ever going to exist from day one. So back when Bitcoin started, it used to be 50 Bitcoin as a reward for every block of information, every 10-minute equation solved. 4 years later, that went to 25. 4 years later, 12.5. There's supply and demand factors that exist. So if we increase the demand because everyone's excited about Bitcoin and then simultaneously reduce the supply of new coins, what that's meant is you can kind of overlay the historic price of Bitcoin over the past 12 years, and it correlates really very strongly with the Bitcoin halving. That's generally meant that the next bull run, the next market has really kind of rocketed off as people come to terms with the fact that these coins are getting harder to get your hands on and more people want them, which of course makes them more valuable. And there you have it. So if you've got to the end of this video, you now know more than 99% of the population. Pretty much going to be the expert amongst your friends just by these simple terminologies and definitions. What other questions do you have in this space that you'd like us to explain? Drop some information in the comments below about other words you'd like to know. What does this mean? How does that impact this? So again, if you could give the video a like and give us a subscribe below, we can't wait to see you again soon. And we hope you're feeling confident now you've gone from crypto zero to crypto hero.